Alright, now, I promised I would do a little yap session today about something. I'm not going to change the category because I don't know how long I will be talking about this. But let me move some things real quick. Recently, Clair Obscur came out, right? And I talked about it earlier today. A bunch of people are being kind of weird about it. They're using it as like a they're using it as like a way to attack JRPGs as a medium right now, to say like what they're doing wrong and stuff. And I wanted to kind of like talk about how there's something interesting with that. So let me go to the Yap corner that I set up for today. Baba! Here we are. We have no music. I didn't think about what to put for music, but you know. So there's been this thing going on right now, this that I've been seeing on my blue sky. Someone made this particular statement where I was like, what the fuck? After years of despising JRPGs, Clair Obscur has finally brought me around by ditching the standard cast of tedious teenagers. When I was seeing this, I already felt this was like a massive self-report, because like teenagers being the main characters isn't even that common of a theme in what people would call JRPGs. This literally just means you've only played Persona. Which I thought, like, what the fuck, right? Then there's like this part. This is from straight up from the article. To be clear, I'm not razzing anybody for liking JRPGs, but so much of the common storytelling conventions associated with the genre always seem to me, well, childish. Loud, obvious, unsubtle, unending narratives with the usual roster of stock character archetypes declaring their innermost thoughts at the audience, either not trusting us to read between the lines, or not bothering to have lines to read between in the first place. But Clair Obscur Expedition 33 challenges the audience to meet it halfway, respecting their intelligence and basic comprehension skills, and knows that topics of grief, loss, and the struggle to go on have to be handled with a gentle hand and the learned experience of adults. When I was reading this, that was wild to me, because while I do think there are some stories that are more aimed towards younger people, there are so many things when it comes to like the whole unsubtle thing that makes it so funny to me. Because how many times have you guys heard about the Final Fantasy X laughing scene, right? The scene of Tidus laughing, and how like bad it is? When it's like the whole point of the scene is that the way he's laughing is supposed to be awkward, because he's forcing it out of himself, and Yuna forces it out of herself, and then both of them truly start laughing. But the subtle undertone is that they are both scared of the future, and no one gets that. So like seeing this part, I was like, what the fuck? But then also something else that I keep thinking about is how in general weird the genre of JRPG has always been, in terms of what people say about it. And this is what I wanted to mainly talk about today. I wanted to jump off on this one because I found this interesting, but this is not actually what I wanted to focus on. I prepared something else. And that is the genre of JRPG itself, chat. What is a JRPG? What makes a JRPG, right? I've chosen these 4 images from different games. Top left is Dark Souls, top right is Like a Dragon, bottom left is Final Fantasy X, and bottom right is Xenoblade. Technically, based on how people have always been categorizing JRPGs, these 4 games are all JRPGs, right? But if I say that about Dark Souls, people would immediately go at my throat and tell me, no, Souls games are its own genre. But why is that? Is it because of the aesthetics? Is it because it's an action game, so it's like classed as a JRPG because of that? We're playing Kingdom Hearts right now, and that's also an action game, but it's often classed as a JRPG. If you look at these 4 games, they have nothing in common with each other. Like, nothing. Like, the combat between all 4 of them is wildly different, but they are still all classed in the quote-unquote JRPG genre. And currently, Clair Obscur is being discussed as a quote-unquote JRPG, but it's obviously made in France, right? By a French studio, so it can't be a JRPG in that sense, because it's like... it's not made in Japan. There was a time during the early 2000s to 2010s where there was like a lot of negativity around Japanese-made games. And I personally think that the term JRPG originated from that, because people wanted to differentiate the weird type of RPG being JRPG. And it was interesting because when Final Fantasy XVI came out, Yoshi P talked about the term JRPG and how he finds it weird that JRPGs are called JRPGs, but no one calls Western RPGs Western RPGs. Like in Japan, everything is just an RPG. And like Clair Obscur kind of like igniting that conversation is super interesting. I personally think that JRPG shouldn't even be a term, and I'm gonna try my best to not use that term anymore. Because at the end of the day, all these things are RPGs with different mechanics. With Final Fantasy X, it's also really funny. There is a Lord of the Rings game that just straight up copies what Final Fantasy X does. But Lord of the Rings is Western, right? Would you call the Lord of the Rings RPG suddenly a JRPG because it's doing what Final Fantasy X does? Or not, you know? It's a super interesting discussion. There's like much more to talk about with this. I just wanted to kind of like start this conversation here. We'll probably talk more about this in the future. Because this is like hastily prepared, I will say. I saw the post and the article last night, and I prepared this just before I started the stream, which is why these graphics are also very basic, right? But I think I want to do this more often, where we do a little gap about things and discussions around media, because I think it's interesting to do this. Again, I'm sorry that I'm gonna end this particular topic here, at least in this kind of style, for now, because I just kind of like decided to do this. Oh yeah, I finished Expedition 33, Ash. I have all the trophies except for one, and that's because one trophy bugged out. It was a very great experience. It is a love letter to what RPGs have been doing, and everyone should try it. I recommend it. If you have a love for the genre, you should play it. Very important. I'm a strong proponent of the yapping. Bonus points for the yapping chair. Thank you. Yeah, again, I whipped this up like super fast today before stream because it was a spur of the moment decision. But I genuinely feel like this can be really fun when we have dedicated like times to talk about things. I'm not gonna do this every stream because I need to gather my thoughts a little bit, and I need to like gather some reference images like I did with today, for example. So, but I want to do this more often.